Well, I'm sure you're all gonna love this.
Well, here we're doing some research on my brother's dump truck as to why it blew up. We got multiple reasons. Oh, he's still in there. Look. We call this lack of maintenance. So, just got done draining the antifreeze out of my brother's truck. It's a miracle. He has the only truck that only takes a gallon and a half of antifreeze.
So while Jeremy's working on my truck up at the farm, making fun of my lack of maintenance, he's actually doing me a huge favor, because this is comic gold. The fact of the matter is Jeremy used to do all my maintenance when I could get him to do it. The problem is I never had time to leave my dump truck sit for 2 weeks.
And we have the radiator off. Getting closer. She's about to come out.
Meanwhile, down at my shop, it is maintenance day. And we're going to maintenance damn near everything. The John Deere, the fire pit, even the dually. But first things first, I want to do a little work on the carburetor on the Malibu. I wanted to drill out these squirters to give a quicker pump shot when I hit the gas. I just want this carburetor perfect. Anyway, I'm trying to get this car ready to go to Kilkare tomorrow, and one thing I needed was a new set of plugs, and Jegs was sold out of them. 1,500 of them on back order. So I go see Mark. Brother's giving me a ration of shit today about maintenance.
I haven't heard anything from him today, so
well, he's busy. He's busy up there at the farm wallering in the grease and oil underneath that dump truck.
Will you keep him there?
So you found my spark plugs.
Of course I did.
Because Jegs has 1,500 of them on back order.
Wow.
Uncle Terry couldn't get me any spark plugs.
Again, I can't help that. I got plenty at hand.
But Uncle Mark at A1 Auto Parts
pulled through it again.
Now Mark didn't have my NGK-9 plugs in stock, but he knew where to get some. It would only take an hour. So I load up my maintenance items and head back to the shop. I figure I've got a little bit of time to work on some other things before it's time to put spark plugs in this Malibu anyway. So me and Kenny put it up on the lift and get ready to change the oil in it. I try to change the oil in this car at least once a month because I drive it a lot. And this engine had a lot of crud in it when Billy first bought it. It's still coming out of the oil yet today. So while Kenny's changing the oil, I clean up underneath the Malibu with this citral stuff from Schaefer's that Mark gets me. And this stuff does an incredible job cleaning up underneath this chassis. Anyway, as Kenny's finishing up the Malibu, in comes my spark plugs and a few other maintenance items. My guy from A1 Auto Parts got us taken care of. There's nothing like the feeling of knowing you're headed to a test and tune session the next day with 8 brand new plugs in your engine. So anyway, we've got the Malibu knocked out and I think it's pretty well ready to go. Except I still need to put the Nitrous progressive controller on. I'll probably try and do that in the morning. Meanwhile, Kenny pulls the dually in to change oil and service the chassis on it, and I get started knocking down dandelions with the John Deere with my all-new front steering that Kenny put on. Maintenance. Speaking of maintenance, in comes Mr. Maintenance himself.
What are you knuckleheads doing?
What do we owe the pleasure of having you visit? You got that engine out of that dump truck yet?
Yeah, just about.
Guess what we're doing?
Fucking something out.
Maintenance.
I doubt it.
Look! I've got video evidence.
What, the oil pan fall off of it?
Valuable evidence.
Did the oil pan fall off?
Did you bolt it on?
No.
Then probably not.
I figured for some reason you're changing oil in it. Obviously from your dump truck you don't do any maintenance.
I figure since Mr. Bucko likes to run his mouth about maintenance so much, I'd bring the skid loader in because it needs a little bit of his maintenance. The starter's bad on it. It's been bad for 2 or 3 years.
How is it my skid steer that's 15 years older than yours works better? I dug mine out of the junkyard.
Well, you complain and bitch at me for lack of maintenance. Here it is. Now we can do maintenance. So now the next step is to locate the starter that I bought 3 years ago. Who knows where it's at?
If you need a starter and you can't find yours, I have mine. fire engine out of mine is a buried to farm injection
Which
pump.
which trash can is it buried in, Oscar?
What exactly is going on here? What's all this shit? What is all this shit?
Lost parts.
Shit that my boys left here and made a mess out of it.
Why, it looks like a garbage can to me.
Well, it's not a freaking garbage can. I can assure
Well, it
you
looks
that.
the same as my garbage can that you ride my ass about, but here we have it.
No, mine was semi-organized.
Really?
Kenny threw all that shit in there.
Okay. Oh, it's Kenny's fault now? Don't be blaming shit on Krylon Kenny.
So you're leaving now.
Yes.
Good riddance.
Yeah, same to you.
Let me know when my dump truck runs.
Yeah, I will. You're gonna let me know when you blow it up again?
Thursday morning, the first thing on my list to get done was get Mom and Dad's trailer brought down from the farm. So Jeremy brought it down for me, and then I sent him down to see Mark to pick up a receiver that fits the 64 that sets the trailer hitch at just the right level for that open car trailer. While Jeremy's headed down there, I'm ready to get started on this Nitrous controller. I need to get this thing installed on the Malibu so I can go test down at Kilkare tonight. I want to make a few motor passes first, but eventually I want to turn the bottle on this thing and let it go. The problem is, I don't dare grab it right out of the hole like I've been doing on the button, because it's just going to explode that little 10 bolt and put me right back at square one. A broken ring and pinion, or a broken axle shaft. So Kenny and I get busy installing this new Nitrous controller in the Malibu. I get it wired up, fire it up, and start programming it and testing the system to make sure that it works. While I'm busy working on this, Mark is using reverse psychology on Uncle Bucko.
What's going on now?
Well, I've been having some complaints.
You having complaints?
Yes.
From what?
Well, because my guys are coming over making deliveries and there's still abuse going on, and you're not there, so I'm not sure what's going on. So
The only
you know,
people
if
are
you're-
allowed to abuse anybody around here is me.
Well, that's what I thought. You need to figure that out.
Bunch of copycats.
Get that straightened up.
Oh, don't worry, I'll fix their little red wagon. Right now, I gotta fix your little red wagon.
Well, my little red wagon's already fixed. So.
Well, you already almost dropped a ball because William said he wanted one of these.
He didn't tell me about this.
He says he
didn't say-
did.
He didn't say anything about it. It's my fault. I should have known that.
All right, I gotta go. William's in a hurry all of a sudden.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
Typical.
You've only been here an hour.
So once Jeremy gets done jack-jawing down at Mark's and causing him grief, he comes back to the shop and assembles my receiver and helps me get the trailer hooked up to the 64. Then I take it out for a test drive to make sure that the trailer brake controller works, and June Pup goes with me to supervise. Once I had established that the 64 was good to go, it's time to get the Malibu wrapped up and get it loaded on the trailer and head south to Kilkare. I didn't have a whole lot of time this morning to do the wiring, so it's pretty messy. I'll straighten all this stuff up later, but for tonight, I just need to make sure that the daggone thing works and that we can make it safely down to Kilkare. I stopped on the way down, filled up the 64, and turned the timing up on it just a little bit, and it picked up the fuel economy and the power quite a bit. We made it down to Kilkare without a single problem, and it was time to finally get this Malibu back on the track. I went in and found a decent pit spot right up by the staging lanes close to the starting line. I fired up the Malibu, warmed it up a little bit, took it to tech, and put it right in the staging lanes. Alright guys, so we're here at Kilkare, and very hectic day today. It seems like everything was fighting me to make it here, but we're here. I don't have anybody to film for me. I got a fella here at the track that watches the channel. He's going to film for me, so I don't have any way to film in the car today, so we'll just have to do the best we can with what we got today. But most important thing for me today is I just want to make a few test passes on motor and make sure the car is going to run consistent. I did put a new set of plugs in it today before I came down, so everything's fresh. It's on pump gas today. Timing set at 43 degrees. I think we're in pretty good shape. We'll find out here in a minute. So I roll up into the burnout box for my very first time trial with a new Team G intake, not really knowing what to expect, but hoping for the best. And the best is exactly what I got. The car 60-footed about the same as it did before. However, on the gear changes, it pulled through those much better. When I got back to the pits, I pulled a plug, and they clearly show there's room for improvement. All right, guys, so our first test hit wasn't too bad. The suspension and everything felt really good leaving the starting line. It was a little bit slow in the 60-foot, and although the car ran a few hundredths faster than probably its best pass, or one of its best passes, went 793. That's one of the best motor passes it's made so far. But I think the tune's off a little bit. The plugs look really rich for one lick. I mean, they really put a lot of color on the plugs. So I jetted the carburetor down just a little bit. We're going to go up and make another one, see what happens. So out of the box, the carburetor was jetted 7484. I'm now jetted 7383. Now, that's down considerably from the jet package that I had in it to begin with. These changes that I'm making not only affect downtrack, but also my 60-foot and reaction time, and I'm definitely trying to dial that in a little bit better. Here I push the tree a little bit too hard and go red. All right, guys, so the jet change did a little bit better. We jetted down about 2 jet sizes all the way around, and I picked up 1 mile an hour, and it went an 89.5 instead of a 93.3. So that's pretty significant. The 60-foot was the same, 175.0. Well, it was 2 thou faster to the 60-foot. 508 with a 5 to the 330 versus 510. So it was definitely making more power out once we got past 330 feet, taking some jet out of it. So I took some jet out of it, and we picked up a little bit there, but I feel like it's still just a little bit off. I just don't feel like it's happy yet with the ignition timing. The plugs show that it's got a little bit too much timing in it. So I'm gonna pull a couple degrees out of it. We'll make another one. So I hook up the timing light, loosen up the distributor, dial the timing back about 3 degrees, and head back to the starting line for another hit. Unfortunately, I ended up going behind a dragster that had drug water out everywhere and caused me to do a little bit different burnout than what I normally would do. Regardless, I got the tires as hot as I could, and then carefully bumped the Malibu in to try and knock a tree down one more time. I'm getting better and better with my reaction time with every pass, and the car picks up more on this pass yet again. Another personal best. So now that I'm pretty comfortable with the tune-up naturally aspirated, it's time to turn the nitrous on. So I program the controller and head for the starting line, but unfortunately when I went up to make my pass, the Malibu wouldn't shift out of first gear and I had to abort the run. So I pack up, load the Malibu up on the trailer, and head to Frisch's to get a bite to eat before I go home and try and pull this transmission apart and find out what's going on. I have a sneaking suspicion that something's gone wrong with the governor, but I won't know until I get it up on the lift and get it apart. Just about the time I'm ready to take this thing out, Tommy shows up to help me film. Yep. Sure as shit. Look up here. The governor came apart. That's what I figured had happened. That pin came loose. I figured that's what it was. Yeah, it wouldn't come out of low gear. But it just sucks. I mean, I got 3 really good motor passes out of it that all made sense. Like I'd make a little change and it would do better. I'd make a little change, it'd do better. And then I went up there for my nitrous hit. It left really good. It went a 158 60 foot. It was nice and gentle. It did exactly what I asked it to do until I asked it to go in second gear. And then it all went to crap. So, but that's okay. It's an easy fix. No problem. I figured that's what it was, but. All right, guys. So sorry about my smudge that I had on my face. Tommy let me just freaking get on camera like that. Never said a thing.
Like Al Pacino.
Al Pacino? Ugh.
didn't want to interrupt you.
Jeez. This is why we call her Scrappy. You're finally seeing it. She's building boost.
It's about 10 pounds.
Oh,
June's on the chin.
now June's on the chip. Hey, enough. Enough. They'll be doing that 1 minute, the next minute they're licking each other's ears laying in the same dog bed. It doesn't make any sense, but whatever. So we had a good time tonight. Well, I had a good time tonight down at Kilkare. We made some progress. The car's running better. And finally, the thing is making sense. Does that make sense? It's making sense. Because before I would make a little change and it would go the opposite direction. Like, okay, the plugs are showing it's got too much timing. Take timing out, it slows down. The plugs are saying it's rich. Take jet out, it slows down. But tonight, finally, things are starting to make sense. Like, plug showed rich. I took jet away, it picked up. Plug showed too much timing. I took timing away, it picked up. So I think we're on the right track finally. At least we were until the governor came apart in the transmission. So now we've got to fix that. But I'm out of parts. I checked my stash of $700 governor parts, and I'm out of these little E-clips. So I'm either going to, well, I'll tell you what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to call Mark in the morning and try and stump the chump with these little teeny tiny E-clips. And if that doesn't work out, I'll try and stop at Jegs tomorrow. One way or the other, I'm going to get these parts tomorrow to fix the Malibu. Because I got word tonight, Mr. Kenny Powers' Camaro is done at Lucor. So the plan is we're going to leave, well, I'm going to leave here in the morning. I don't know if Kenny will be here or not, but I'm going to leave here in the morning to go get Kenny's Camaro. And when I go pick the Camaro up, I can either stop at Jegs 11th Avenue or Lucor is like 20 minutes away from Jegs warehouse up in Delaware. So one way or the other, I'll get the parts to fix this Malibu tomorrow. We'll get this transmission fixed up. I think I'm going to change the fluid in it too. I was going to change the fluid the other day, and I think I'm out of fluid, so I need to call Mark on that. But I need to service the transmission in it and then fix this governor. It's just an E-clip came out of it, no big deal. But I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's going to do really well. I think we're on the right track finally.
Well, you know what Jeff says.
What does Jeff say, Thomas?
You just got to listen to the car. Listen to what it wants.
That is true. Jeffrey is right about that.
Screw what the gauges say.
Yeah.
If it's
wait.
Wants timing, give it some timing.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God. The Dart, when we first got the Dart here, remember that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was driving it around. I was like, man, this thing runs pretty good, but it feels like it needs more timing. I didn't even put a timing light on. I just brought it home, went, turned the distributor.
It was like plus 150 horsepower. It was like we were running on 6 cylinders, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, 2 more cylinders.
What did it do? Pick up like 2 or 3 tenths?
Oh,
it was
like
astronomical. It was terrible, yeah. And Jeff's like, what did you do to it? I changed the timing. Oh, what'd you set it at?
More.
More.